There's a lot of reasons to love 2019's The Lighthouse. Robert Eggers, probably one of the best new directors in Hollywood right now. Willem Dafoe gives a performance that proves that Oscars are fucking worthless, because if Willem Dafoe doesn't win Best Supporting Actor for The Lighthouse, the Oscars are meaningless. He was the best performance, pretty much period, of 2019 and didn't even get a nomination. The beautiful cinematography, which did get nominated, the interesting kind of look of the film, the whole special chromatography they use, the very unique form of black and white, the box aspect ratio. There's a lot to love about the film. But my new favorite thing about The Lighthouse is something I've discovered recently, is that it is the ultimate film for outing pretentious art snobs who overthink everything. I'm my own favorite art snob because I've discovered that there is this real thin line between a movie that has a meaning or a subtext or a themes and a film that's really smart while also not really saying very much. The Lighthouse, everyone wants to believe that there's a rich metaphor, a tapestry of layers of mystery, and that everything's a symbol for something. And the fucking great thing about the film is it's got two aspects. It's got the characters, their dynamic, and their conflict. Defoe and Pattinson. I've noticed that some film snobs have resorted to calling these characters, quote, young and old, as if they're unnamed protagonists. They're Tom and Tommy. They have names. There's an extendedly long ass scene where they explain to each other who they are and what their names are. So fuck off with that, for one. It's hilarious. People trying to insist that they're two aspects of the same person, that Defoe and Pattinson, it's like young versus old, the mature but doddering and decrepit versus the sex-crazed ego of youth, and what does the lighthouse symbolize, and was the seagull really a spirit? And look, you could explain literally almost the entirety of what happens, and that the characters are both crazy. It's a film about cabin fever, which is almost disappointingly simple, isn't it? The characters are literally drinking fucking kerosene by the liter by the end of it, and yet, oh, surely there actually really were mermaids, and there really was fucking Triton coming out of the fucking sea, and the lighthouse really did just melt the fucking Robert Pattinson to punish him for his sin of reaching for knowledge he shouldn't have. Maybe, but guess what? It doesn't have to mean anything. Robert Eggers, even himself as a director, is notoriously pretty mum on any hidden meaning in his works, like The Witch or The Lighthouse, and that he always says something along the lines of, atmosphere comes first. I really just wanted to make this atmosphere, and then I built around it. Now, I'll tell you what The Lighthouse actually is. It's very, very simple, folks. Do you know what The Lighthouse is? It's not the knowledge of God or the protean flame or any of this shit. The Lighthouse is called a MacGuffin. Do you know what a MacGuffin is, kids? It's probably the first fucking thing they teach you in writing school. It's a reason for characters to be in conflict. Full stop. A reason for characters to fight. That's all The Lighthouse is. Sorry. I'll tell you why this film drives film snobs and hidden meanings and fucking art students around in circles and circles and circles, is because there's actually not a right answer to any of the questions in the film. And the best thing about the film is it's so expertly crafted, so perfectly acted, so brilliantly shot, so keenly, sharply edited, so pace perfect that it doesn't fucking matter. I remember reading a comment from a YouTube comment from Wisecrack's particularly shitty deconstruction of this film that said that this film, if abstract art can be film, I think this is it, implying that the film is abstract. No. Just because there isn't layers of fucking metaphor and things aren't necessarily or even likely to be symbols for something or metaphors for something, that there's not themes and meaning, it's just straightforward. People look at this kind of supernatural, claustrophobic, overly character-focused thing that is the fucking environment that the characters are in is a tiny-ass island and a tiny-ass house and a lighthouse, and it's just two characters interacting for an indeterminate period of time, and they go crazy. They come into conflict, and at the end, the lighthouse, somebody finally gets a hold of the lighthouse after they're done fighting over it, and it kills the person who gets a hold of it. Spoilers. But the thing is, did the lighthouse really kill the guy? What is the lighthouse? And would touching it with your fucking hands burn you to death? Or wound you so bad that you could fall down a spiral staircase, break your fucking neck, and get eaten by gulls? Does it necessarily have to be the forbidden knowledge of the gods? Or is it just the fact that the movie even made you think about it and made you wonder and made you curious? I think the best part of this film really is that I didn't sit there wondering what the light was after I was done watching it. I'm one of these dumb geeks who gets roped into shows like Mr. Robot and Lost, and I want to know what's really going on. I didn't have one fucking thought about that. If you pay attention to the focal point of the movie, which is not anything supernatural, it's not a seagull, it's not a lighthouse. The lighthouse is not in the fucking slightest the focal point of the film. If you look at the characters, you may notice that they're both not very in their right mind to begin with, and then go progressively more crazy. Now, are they cursed? Were they hiding how crazy they were at first and slowly revealing their true selves? Did Tommy really bring... Not young, Tommy. Did Tommy really fucking bring bad luck on him and Tom Wiki, the Willem Dafoe character? Not young and old. Tommy and Tom... did he really bring bad luck on them by killing the seagull? Probably not. It's implied that one of them is a delusional old dingbat who's an asshole and clearly kind of whacked out by isolation in the sea. And it's implied that his previous partner also got whacked out, because cabin fever, and then Robert Pattinson got whacked out too. Why is there any... See, the thing that bothers me is that people need more than that. The brilliancy of The Lighthouse is there is no need for more than that. This is a film where the craft of the film means more than any meaning intended or inferred from the film. It's just a damn near perfect movie. But all these fucking Game of Thrones film theory, that's just a theory, a film theory, dumbasses, need more from this film. And the film gives them enough to run circles around. But I think what's the most frustrating thing is watching people infer a bunch of things from the film, some of which are just downright wrong, most of which are just because the film doesn't say and leaves it open to your imagination. And then they imagine all these things. They impute and imply that the film does this. And then they say, and this is what the film is. And then they make a video titled like Wisecrack's video title. The Lighthouse. Deep or dumb? Neither. Fuckhead. That implies that there is some sort of intelligent test to the film. Is the film as intelligent as it's trying to be? Absolutely it fucking is. But how smart is the film really trying to be, you pretentious faggot? Not very. That's what makes it brilliant, is it looks deep as fuck, but no. It's not deep. It's not trying to be deep. You don't have to be smarty pants 200 IQ to get it at all. It's very straightforward. Two lunatics, island, MacGuffin. And then the rest of what makes the film good is not my complexity, my themes, my metaphors, my layers, my depth. It's character acting, brilliant photography, brilliant editing, brilliant genius directing, crafting a piece of art. Art doesn't have to be a Jackson Pollock painting, and it doesn't have to be some sort of secret Da Vinci Rembrandt shit where there's not just the picture's beautiful, but there's like all this hidden shit in it. There's no trail of breadcrumbs. There's no fucking treasure map. It is what it is, and it's perfect. There are people who think that a film has to be something really brave and unconventional, like a Memento or some shit, to be brilliant and thought-provoking, or it has to be so fucking dripping with metaphor that people love to point out the Great Gatsby and the billboard with the glasses is like the all-seeing disapproving gaze of God upon these sinners. It's none of that. None of that is in The Lighthouse at all. So without further ado, since I'm kind of repeating myself, I just cannot stress enough how irritated I am that people are faced with detritus like Marvel cape shit that is meant for children, or at the very least to be accessible to children in its entirety, and is therefore not trying to provoke your thoughts at all. Or a film has to be so fucking intense and artistic, and it's supposed to be evocative, and it's about some Freudian concept or some spiritual metaphor or a fucking Christ allegory or whatever the fuck. Or a film can be an expertly crafted, simple thing. Simplicity is not akin to stupidity. If I still have your attention, this is the last thing I'm going to tell you. Simple does not mean stupid. Never has, never will. You can deliver something very straightforward and it's perfection. Take a movie like Terminator 2 or Die Hard. Not a lot of fucking moving parts, big think, terrorist this, save John Connor from the T-1000 that. But just look at the film, the artistic achievement, whether it's the stunts or the photography or the cinematography or the special effects. That does matter. And in fact, if your film is not brain dead retarded or working against its own message, like, say, The Last Jedi, then, if you just look at what it looks like, The Last Jedi is a great technical achievement. But it's a piece of shit. You look at The Lighthouse and you think, well, it's just black and white and two characters in a room. In order for this to be meaningful or beautiful, it has to be smarty pants. No, it doesn't. It can be two lunatics fighting over a lighthouse. The end. Not more, not less, not metaphor, not subtext. There is a little bit of that in there. There's a little bit of, like, in the way the characters interact between power dynamics, and maybe there's a little something to the big brains at Wisecrack saying shit about hidden knowledge. That is kind of in the subtext of the film, but that subtext is thin. The fine print is thin. It's not... I don't believe Robert Eggers for a second intended more than that. You look at The Witch, another brilliant, beautiful film, and it's just about religious weirdos basically under assault from a demonic witch. There's not really more to it than that. And honestly, that's a good thing. Too many films really think that you either have to be brain dead retarded, sell it to China, they don't even have to understand the language, or it has to be fucking in-your-face Oscar bait. Not at all. I mean, the main reason this movie didn't get a lot of nominations is the Academy has no respect for horror films. And the great thing about people like Robert Eggers, and I can't for the life of me remember the person who made Hereditary and Midsommar, real meaty, legitimate atmospheric horror is on the comeback, folks, and that's a great thing to look forward to. But don't expect the golden statue faggots to respect it, because they're not going to. And all of these films I just mentioned, the great thing about them is that they keep that very straightforward, very simple horror dynamics of just MacGuffin, bad guy, whether it's monster or curse or crazy people with cabin fever. Simple things done artfully, done smartly. It's a hallmark of horror to be simple, and to demand more of horror is a mistake. It is a mistake because horror is not a frontal cortex thing. It's a back of the head thing. It's primal. So if you're trying to think your way around something that is supposed to be targeting you at the base of your fucking skull, you're doing it wrong. Thanks for watching.